Hollywood has never been short on celebrities whose personal lives spiral into chaos. For most, those scandals are side notes, dramatic yes, but rarely enough to define an entire career. In Charlie Sheen's case, however, the chaos surrounding his off-screen life, marked by drugs, women, alcohol, and excess, eventually drowned out his professional legacy and reshaped how the world remembers him. Once a household name celebrated for acclaimed roles in Platoon and Wall Street, and later for the massive success of 2.5 Men, Charlie Sheen's name is now more commonly associated with public breakdowns, surreal interviews, and the implosion of a once brilliant career. So what really happened to Charlie Sheen?
When you look, do you know what was going on in Charlie Sheen's head back then?
I recognize him by name, not by character.
Born Carlos Irwin Estevez in 1965, Charlie was the youngest son of actor Martin Sheen, a man revered for both his talent and political activism. Growing up in Los Angeles, Charlie was surrounded by the film world from the start. He spent his early years visiting sets, absorbing the craft, and developing an understanding of how fame worked, both its benefits and its costs. He made his acting debut in the 1980s and quickly proved he wasn't simply capitalizing on his father's fame. His breakout came with Oliver Stone's Platoon, where his portrayal of a young soldier caught in the horrors of Vietnam earned him critical acclaim. He followed that with Wall Street, another Stone-directed film that highlighted Charlie's ability to balance charm with emotional intensity. Through the late 80s and early 90s, his filmography expanded across genres, from comedies and dramas to action flicks. Audiences connected with his screen presence, and directors sought him out. Charlie, at least publicly, appeared to be thriving. Yet the Hollywood lifestyle, with all its temptations, was something he embraced, far beyond what his roles required. As his fame increased, so did his excesses. In 1995, his name became publicly linked to the Heidi Fleiss prostitution scandal. Instead of denial or remorse, Charlie dismissed the controversy with casual indifference, famously joking that he paid for companionship because it was more convenient than dating. His reaction spoke volumes, not just about his mindset, but also about how willing the entertainment industry was to look the other way. Despite the scandal, his career continued uninterrupted. He starred in comedies like Hot Shots, appeared in box office successes, and eventually transitioned to television, where he gained renewed acclaim for his role on Spin City, earning a Golden Globe. In 2003, he was cast in 2.5 Men, a role that seemed tailor-made for him. As Charlie Harper, he played a charming, hard-drinking womanizer living in a Malibu beach house, a character who mirrored his real-life persona so closely it often felt like he wasn't acting at all. The show was an immediate hit. Ratings climbed and Sheen's paycheck followed, making him the highest-paid actor on television. But with fame came unchecked power. The higher he rose, the more invincible he seemed to feel. His off-screen behavior worsened, and whispers from inside the production hinted at growing concerns. Rumors circulated about out-of-control parties, destructive spending habits, and increasingly erratic behavior during filming. Some on set laughed it off as eccentricity. Others saw danger. Charlie appeared to be slipping further and further into the character he portrayed, only with no script and no boundaries. By the late 2000s, those close to him were finding it harder to ignore the reality. Multiple stints in rehab, allegations of domestic violence, and highly publicized divorces revealed a pattern of escalating chaos. His drug use wasn't whispered about. It was reported, documented, and confirmed. In 2009, he was arrested for assaulting his then-wife, Brooke Mueller. The following year, he made headlines again after destroying a New York hotel room during a drug-fueled episode, racking up over $7,000 in damages while leaving an escort terrified and hiding in the bathroom. Still, 2.5 Men continued to air. The network kept the show going. The audience kept tuning in. By 2010, Sheen was making nearly $2 million per episode. But while his salary peaked, his grip on reality was slipping. The line between Charlie Harper and Charlie Sheen had effectively vanished, and behind the scenes, the concern among producers, publicists, and even family members began to reach a boiling point. The breaking point came in 2011. Following yet another stint in rehab, Sheen launched a public tirade against show creator Chuck Lorre. The insults were vicious, sometimes incoherent, and laced with anti-Semitic undertones. Interviews followed, unfiltered, bizarre, and more disturbing than entertaining. Eventually, CBS and Warner Bros. Terminated his contract. The biggest star on television had effectively imploded, an unraveling so dramatic it was impossible to ignore.
How do you survive that?
Because I'm me. Because I'm me. I'm different. I just have a different constitution. I have a different brain. I have a different heart. I have a different, I get tiger blood, man.
You don't worry that you're going to die when you take that many drugs?
Dying's for fools.
But you're only human.
Now, there's certain blends I will not entertain because that's how people go down. I'm too smart to do that. So, I'm sorry for the guys that happened to, but, you should have read the directions before you showed up at the party.
In the weeks and months that followed, Sheen's behavior went from unpredictable to surreal. He began live streaming from his home, delivering incoherent monologues filled with phrases like tiger blood and winning. Surrounded by 2 live-in girlfriends he called his goddesses, he painted a picture of someone deeply disconnected from reality. In one particularly disturbing interview, he claimed to have Adonis DNA and called himself a warlock with magic powers. The media frenzy was instant. Every late-night host had a segment on Charlie Sheen. Social media flooded with memes and remix videos. His rants were rewatched, rehashed, and parodied across every platform. But behind the headlines, something much more troubling was unfolding. Experts speculated about a possible manic episode or a drug-induced mental health crisis. Viewers who initially laughed were beginning to see the darker side of what was unfolding. And yet, help was still out of reach. Offers of support were few and far between. The industry that once praised him now seemed content to watch him disintegrate publicly. Hollywood thrives on spectacle, and Charlie Sheen, in the throes of his collapse, had become the ultimate spectacle. His downfall was monetized. From TV ratings to YouTube ad revenue, nearly everyone found a way to profit off his pain. What audiences witnessed was not a comeback or even a confrontation with reality, it was a breakdown, packaged and sold as entertainment. In 2012, he attempted to re-enter the spotlight with FX's Anger Management. The series launched with promise, but quickly lost momentum. Critics saw through it and viewers didn't return. Charlie's attempt at reinvention lacked the authenticity the audience now demanded. In the years that followed his public breakdown, Charlie Sheen began to shift his focus toward reflection and survival. Though he no longer held the spotlight, his name continued to linger in conversations about Hollywood's most infamous collapses. Friends and former colleagues noted his efforts to make amends, not through grand gestures or viral comebacks, but through quieter choices, showing up for his children, reconnecting with estranged family, and trying to live a more stable life away from cameras. He acknowledged the damage he caused, both to himself and others, and gradually worked to reclaim a sense of purpose. His lifestyle changed. The wild nights were replaced with therapy sessions, scheduled interviews, and public service messages about addiction and health. Charlie had seen what it meant to lose everything. In interviews, he has expressed remorse and taken responsibility for the hurt he caused. He's spoken of sobriety, self-awareness, and a desire to use his story to help others avoid his mistakes. He has made appearances at charitable events and has shown interest in mentoring young talent, perhaps as a way to create something positive from the wreckage. Still, the question of redemption remains complicated. For many, the damage done to his career and to others along the way was too deep to fully repair. His name is still closely tied to the collapse, and for a certain generation, that collapse is what defines him. And yet, surviving it all says something. In a world that often chews people up and spits them out, Charlie Sheen endured. He may never return to the heights of his former career, but he's still here, trying. His story is more than a celebrity cautionary tale. It's about the cost of fame without boundaries, success without accountability, and an industry that prefers profit over people. It's about the human being behind the headlines, the actor, the father, the man, who reached the edge and somehow kept walking. Charlie Sheen's rise was fast, his fall even faster. But perhaps the most remarkable part of his story is that it's not quite over.